This is King Cruff and you're watching Shifter.
Nobody told me that life could be this good.
Hey, it's Lauren here with Shifter, and we have King Cruff with us.
What's going on, Lauren? How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Absolutely.
And talk to you about your latest single, Jax Hill Dreamers.
Yes.
It's dropping November 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear about your journey, your inspiration. What drove you to work on that song and also work with your cousin, Skip Marley, on it?
Little bit of backstory, a little bit of context. Like, me and Skip grew up together, right? Like, Skip was that cousin that I had a very close relationship with when we were kids. So I feel like when I was on my music journey as an independent and he was on his music journey and he was dropping songs like Cry to Me and Lions and Ray, and I'm watching him like, yo, cuz he's doing things, you know what I mean? We always had conversations of making music together, but we knew it was kind of like a when the time is right, you know? And when I was able to make this session happen, it was perfect timing, man. And I feel like we're in it and we're cooking. And as we met the song more and more, we're kind of like getting a little bit more personal about both of our upcomings, you know what I mean? Our come-ups, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's where Jax Hill Dreamer comes from. It's referencing Jax Hill, which is where, you know, I grew up in Jamaica, in Kingston, and that's where Skip grew up as well. So it's us giving a little bit of our history to the people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, talking, you know, to the people, to the fans. You have a video coming out.
Yes. Jax Hill Dreamers.
What can they expect to see? What can we look forward to?
I think you can see the family vibes off the gate, you know what I mean? I think straight up we're just having fun. I think my favorite part of that video is the ending, because in that part you see shots of Jax Hill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the video almost never really had that. And I had someone come to me and was like, how are you not going to have that in there? You know what I mean? And it was because we weren't able to go down to Jamaica in time to shoot it at Jax Hill itself. But, you know, I was like, you know, if I can even reference it as an Easter egg or something, that's what will really tie this together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Being born Solomon, Solomon Marley Spence,
Mm-hmm.
and being the grandson of legendary music icon,
Yes.
Bob Marley.
Yes.
How did that impact, you know, your idea of making music? What drives your creativity? Is it, you know, more than just being part of such a legendary music family? Or like, how does both of that influence you today?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I have to make sure that the music is good. Because if it's not good, I'm definitely going to hear about it from the family. They're going to tell me, because they're honest like that. But I feel like the thing that it teaches me the most is that the music has to tell a story. You know what I mean? It has to be timeless, because all of Bob's music is timeless. And it has to be true to me. You know, the messaging, whatever it may be, has to be true to me. I try to make that messaging as positive as possible. I am just human. So, you know, sometimes maybe we'll touch on some things that's a little bit more, like more darker themes that, you know, are a little bit more vulnerable. But I think those need to be talked about as well, because that helps people. And when Bob was making music, he was making music to help people. So I kind of take that inspiration from him, and kind of in this generation, that is my goal when it comes to the music.
You are a great storyteller.
Thank
I have
you.
to say, your
Thank
music
you.
always, like, there's always a message. There's always like a story. And listening to your EP, I was really taken by the title, you know, Rita's Revenge, and that story that you put in there. Did you talk to your grandmother about that? Did you say, you know, I'm gonna put this song in here, or take a listen? If you did, like, how did she react? What did she think?
No, you know, I never talked to her about it. First of all, big up Nana Rita, always. Nana, we love you, you know. I really like that song a lot, because it's paying homage, but it's such a hard track, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of like, that kind of emulates Grandma Rita a little bit, because, you know, Grandma has always been kind of represented as like the feminine side to the Marley coin, you know what I mean? And Bob is the masculine, but people don't know that Nana Rita, how strong she really is, how much she's like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it being called Rita's Revenge is kind of like me being her revenge and showing that side of her, if that makes sense.
Well, that makes sense. I always loved listening to like the Wailers, like the part, like the background singers, and I would sing that part in the car, and my dad would just be like doing the rest of it.
Y'all had a duet going on?
Yeah, we had to do it.
Oh man.
I think that's the only album I knew until I was like 10 years old. So I really and truly just love to hear her voice because I still remember it. I still hear it. So,
of course.
You know, it's really interesting to hear her impact represented through you. Like you said, that's crazy.
I'm always here to represent Nana Rita. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not hard for me. Sorry.
No. But yeah, what was she like as a grandmother?
Bro.
Yeah.
She's inspiring, you know what I mean? She's hilarious. You know, when a lot of my earliest memories is of her giving me these lessons that at the time when she'd said them, I'd be like, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that mean, you know? I couldn't really wrap my brain around it as a child, but as I got older, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. You know, she was always someone who kind of like guided me. I think she, because I was such a big-headed, imaginative kid, I think she kind of like took to me a lot, you know? I know a little bit of family secrets. I know I reminded her a little bit of her father too, Leroy Anderson, also known as Papa Roy. So she called me Papa. You know what I mean? Growing up, she always called me Papa. So, you know, she's always showing love. Yeah.
I gotta say, every Jamaican has like a nickname that is not their name. Everyone calls them by.
Absolutely.
Was that yours? Was Papa yours?
Papa was mine for my family.
Ah.
Yeah. I guess Cruff is mine now.
Yeah, that works.
I think so. You know, some of the Jamaicans are afraid to call me Cruff though because I feel like I'll get offended. But I'm like, nah, you guys can call me.
They have so many nicknames for people. You know,
Bigs, Blacks.
Yeah. Explained a lot about growing up in the Marley family, but was there ever a moment where it like clicked for you? You know, this is more than just, you know, my family. This is a family that is so important to the world. Like, did you ever have a moment where you were like, damn?
Yeah. I think I'm going to start telling this story often. So to answer your question, always been in awe. You know what I mean? I've always seen these uncles on stages. You know what I mean? I've always knew what my family meant to people. But I feel like I didn't have a personal experience of it until I performed in Burlington on this past Canada Day. And you know, kind of like in the music industry in Canada, we're kind of taught that people don't really care about reggae music, right? That's kind of the vibe that we're taught. But when I performed at that show with my band, I saw the real love. You know what I mean? All these people who they knew I did some covers of The Family and Riri, and they knew that off the bat. And then when I went to the more hip hop stuff, they were all for it. Everything. One of the most supportive crowds ever. And it was 2 45-minute sets. And then after the first one, a lady came up to me. I forget her name, I'm sorry, but an older lady, and she was like, you know, when I was younger, I had met Bob, and he gave me a hug and kissed me on my cheek. I met him with my husband, and my husband passed away, but now I get to meet you. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give you a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and she embraced me, and that was probably the first moment personally where I was like, this is what my family means to people. It was a very personal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has such a global impact.
Absolutely.
And, you know, with this EP, you even have such a global sound.
Thank you.
You have such a global sound. Like, you have...
Don't boost me, man. Don't boost me.
You have Afrobeats, you have reggae, you have Latin music, you have everything. You know, what influenced you to make a global sound and blend all those genres?
I think as the type of artist I am, I just can't sound like anybody else in good conscience. You know what I mean? I can't come out with something and be like, oh, well, this sounds like this guy and that guy. There might be influences for sure, you know, and that might come through more vocally than anything. But when the whole piece of the pie comes together, or the whole pie comes together, people have to be like, I never heard this before. A track like Way We Know, which is the outro on the record. To me, when I made that track, I thought that was like a real pop song. You know what I mean? I thought I was like, oh, this is just pop Cruff. And I played it for some people, some wonderful people at Audio Mac recently, and they were like, this isn't even pop. This just don't sound like anything. You know what I mean? This is a different sound with the drums and da-da-da-da. So I enjoy it, man. I enjoy giving people something they haven't heard because we need more of that.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the sound and getting to hear that. You also bring in Toronto, you bring in Canada. You know, She Don't Need has that video where you go from Jamaica, you go to Toronto, and it comes back and forth. what part of the culture really influences you here? Because we have such a fusion of Jamaican and Canadian culture that is really represents the city, kind of even to the world. You know, what part of it speaks to you, or is something that's your favorite part of Toronto?
Well, you know, with a question like that, I kind of have to look back on my journey as a Canadian, because I was born in Canada, but I didn't spend any time here. You know what I mean? Growing up, I lived between Jamaica and the Bahamas mostly, right? So I think I didn't really get much Canadian influence until I actually moved up here. And the first time I really...
What age did you move up here?
I moved up here when I was 17.
17?
Yeah. So not fully a man yet, but getting, you know what I mean? Still had a lot to learn. But I feel like, you know, if we're talking about Canadian influences, we have to talk about London, Ontario, which is where I was born and where I moved back to. And it's funny because the title of the EP is What Have I Done? And done is spelled like D-O-N, and that is a shout out to London. You know what I mean? And that is just another little Easter egg for whoever's on the journey. But I feel like when it comes to Canadian influence, especially Toronto just has a certain, I don't know what it is, man. I can't explain it, but it has like this off-kilter charisma about it that's like, you know, you got so many different mixes, the multicultural, and I feel like maybe that's what it is. You know what I mean? When I moved up here, I just met so many different people for so many different backgrounds. I'd be like, yo, listen to this, yo, listen to this, yo, this is the history behind this. And that just helps me to make my music more interesting.
It definitely does.
Thank you. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I have a bunch more questions. I'm going to ask them like really fast.
Let's go.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
So, since you grew up in London, what's your favorite spot in London? Like your favorite place to eat, your favorite place to go?
Rose's Tree of Life.
Rose's Tree of Life.
If we're talking Caribbean food, that's the spot.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
All right. Okay. And aside from performing, being on stage, what is your favorite place to be?
Oh, that's a good one. My favorite place to be? Does it have to be like an actual like city location?
No. It can be any place.
Probably my bed, man. Probably my bed.
Me too.
I don't like leaving the house too much. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
It's comfortable. It's there. It's nice.
I know what I like. I know where I like to be.
I agree. And what's the first concert you've ever attended?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. What's the first concert I've ever attended? Ooh. The first one that comes to mind is like a reggae songfest. You ever been to reggae songfest?
No, I have not.
It's this massive reggae event that happens in Jamaica every year. And they always bring like artists from the outside. And, you know, obviously my family has performed there. But it's like the event or one of the major events in Jamaica. So probably an early one, like when I was like maybe like 8 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to I'm assuming you've been to a lot of concerts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a nice thing to be like, I don't know exactly which one was the first, but one of them.
One of them. It has to be.
Has to be one of them. Okay. And if you could collaborate with any artist,
Yeah.
which person would you choose?
Just one?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Because there's so many. I'm gonna say Chronics, man.
Chronics?
Chronics is the one.
Nice.
You know what I mean? That's probably the one. On a list of like 10.
On a list
You know?
of 10.
Yeah. It's a long list.
He's number one. Who's number two?
Who's number 2? Should I just give the whole list? I don't know. We ain't got
Go
to.
ahead.
Let's see. Chronics will be sick. Kendrick will be sick. Andre 3000. Actually,
Yeah.
Andre 3000 might be number 1. You know what I mean? I might change that one.
Would you have him
I'll have a song with both of them.
with both of
you know?
them?
Yeah.
Would you have Andre with the flute or Andre with
I need Andre rapping. You know what I mean? If you come in the studio with the flute, I'm not going to tell him no, though, you know? I'm not going to be like, Andre, you got to go home, you know?
You just have him in the background, big letters, Andre 3000.
No, man.
Okay, I respect that. Those are great collabs.
Absolutely.
Those are amazing. And like talking about concerts and music, you recently opened for Damien and Stephen Marley.
Correct.
On their Traffic Jam tour.
Correct.
Amazing. How was that experience?
Amazing. You know what I mean? We got to perform at History, which I like that venue a lot in Toronto. It was sold out. Again, another example of how people love reggae music in Canada. And first of all, any chance to see my uncles perform, is a blessing. That always takes me back to being a youth again. You know what I mean? But being able to share the stage with them and then have conversations with them afterwards about how they felt about the performance, and them say, yeah man, Sally, yeah, do it. You know what I mean? Yeah man, Cruffers. That's very gratifying. You know what I mean? So I'm in a state of gratitude right now.
What are you most looking forward to when performing?
I think what I'm most looking forward to is really like interacting with the crowd, which I know is kind of a cliche answer, but there are some crowds that when you're just like doing a back and forth and you're like, yo guys, make this sound. Or I remember one time I was at Montreal where I was like, yo, can you guys go choo-choo? Because that's my ad lib. And then it's just everyone in the crowd just choo-choo-choo-choo-choo. It was crazy, you know what I mean? So just little stuff like that, that's probably what like, that makes it more fun, you know?
Yeah. And when people interact, it's the best because, you know, it's more than just a concert. It's like a gathering, everybody's together. It's like a feeling, like a family almost.
Absolutely. I don't like the crowds where you got you and everybody just stand up. You know what I mean? And try to act cool fashion show. That's not what I want on my shows. You know what I mean?
You know, also you were recently in New York on Sway in the Morning. You want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was crazy. I did not know that was gonna happen. Yeah, I didn't know that I was gonna be a part of the interview until I was sitting in the chair. You know what I mean? I knew that I was gonna be in the room. And I had met Sway before, and I know Sway has a lot of love for the family, and you know, big up Sway because that moment is honestly such a big moment in my career. A friend of mine was legit like, I hope you know this means that your place in hip hop has been officially documented. And I really took that in, and I was like, that's something that I wanted since I was like 14 years old, you know? So it was a great big moment. Big up Sway and big up Tracy, man. And big up Skip for letting me do that. You know, go and listen to Close, because that song is a banger.
But I want to say thank you so much for sitting down with us today and, you know, talking to me, talking to Shifter, talking to everybody.
Absolutely, man. This is easy. I love Shifter. Big up. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.